Coming up on Murrow News 8, it's election season. We'll update you on Whitman County's results.
And what students have to say about our future president next.
From the Northwest Public Broadcasting Studios on the campus of Washington State University, this is Murrow News 8.
Hello and welcome to Murrow News 8. I'm Jose.
And I'm Brooke. Former President Donald Trump has won the 2024 presidential election, defeating Vice President Kamala Harris following an election year that included criminal convictions, an assassination attempt, and an unprecedented switch of his opponent. His political agenda appealed to tens of millions of voters who feared that the American dream was drifting further from reach. Vice President Kamala Harris conceded to former President Trump today and delivered a concession speech where she focused on the future of America. Trump's second-term plans to blend conservative principles with populist ideas with these key points. Trump aims for mass deportations and claims he would veto a federal abortion ban but may not intervene in legal challenges against abortion access. He says his tax plan favors corporations and wealthier individuals, proposing a cut to the corporate tax rate. And he also remains skeptical of global trade, advocating for tariffs on foreign goods. Socially, Trump seeks to roll back federal diversity programs and limit LGBTQ rights. He is committed to repealing the Affordable Care Act, but has yet to present a replacement. Trump rejects climate change as a hoax, preferring fossil fuel-based infrastructure and energy development, and advocates for a stronger military and more isolationist foreign policy.
Now that the election results are in, and it was a pretty fast call, we sent our reporter out to get the students' opinions on the election outcome. She tells us that students weren't too eager to talk about the election, and no one would talk about who they voted for, but students did say that they were anxious watching the polls come in as first-time voters.
I'll say it's something. That's about what I'll elaborate on. It was something, definitely. I will say that the moments leading up to the whole day was very anxiety inducing, and the whole thing was just, as expected, relatively anxiety inducing both ways.
I was really nervous watching it just because last time an election happened, I wasn't able to vote. So this year I'm really glad that I was able to put my ballot in and that my vote counted.
In other races, Republican candidate Michael Baumgartner has won the congressional election to a U.S. House seat representing Eastern Washington on Wednesday, holding the open seat for his party. The former state senator is currently serving his second term as Spokane County Treasurer. He defeated Democrat Carmela Conroy, who served as a deputy prosecutor in Spokane County. Baumgartner will replace Kathy McMorris Rogers, who has held the congressional seat since 2005 and announced she would not seek re-election.
Washington State Senate's race was between Democratic Party Maria Cantwell and the Republican Party Dr. Raul Garcia. Cantwell was able to get 59.9% of the vote, which beats Garcia's 40.1%.
Washington's current Attorney General Bob Ferguson is projected to win the spot as Washington governor. While only about 62% of the votes have been counted, Ferguson is leading against former Congressman Dave Reichert by almost 13 percentage points. Ferguson is leading in urban counties, with Reichert leading in rural areas. Officials predict Ferguson will win as the majority of the votes in the process of being counted are from those more urban areas.
Democrat Steve Hobbs has won the race for Secretary of State in Washington against Republican Dale Whitaker. According to recent results, the Secretary of State serves as the Chief Elections Officer and is responsible for handling elections across the state during a 4-year term.
Democrat Mike Pellucciati and Republican Sharon Hannick ran in the general election for Washington Treasurer. The Treasurer manages the state's debts, investments, and cash. Hannick won this race and will be the new treasurer.
When looking at the Washington State Attorney General race, it was between Democrat Nick Brown and Republican Pete Serrano. Brown was able to pull away in the race with winning 56.3% to Serrano's 43.7%.
Republicans have taken the majority on the Latah County Board of Commissioners. Tony Johnson defeated Democrat Mark Throne by about 3,000 votes to replace Democrat Kathy LaFortune, who did not run for re-election. There have been a number of sweeping changes in our elected offices, and that has hardly mentioned results from across the country. We're going to send it over to our reporter Emmett Brisgornia for BG's breakdown of House and Senate control, as well as a report on voter turnout in this election.
Thank you so much, guys. Senate race here In the U.S. House, that is, we are looking at 6 split in Washington State for the Democrats, 2 for the Republicans, 2 still yet undecided. It's kind of a toss-up in the House as we move on into our next graphic here. The U.S. Senate is still up for grabs as well. Well, it's Republican control with gaining 3 seats here, but toss-ups here are Nevada and Pennsylvania and Arizona. It's looking like Arizona is going to be the Democrat here. Some of our graphics are kind of messed up, but I'm just going to tell you what it is. In the one independent vote in the House is Bernie Sanders of Vermont. I want to get to our little Washington turnout here is at 64%. That's 20% less than in 2020. And in Whitman County, that percentage is even lower at 54%. It might have something to do with the 18 to 24 demographic turning out, where the state average is 43%. In Whitman County, it's 30%. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, BG. And the results are in for the District 9 state representative elections. Republican Mary Dye has 66% of the vote over Democrat Patrick Miller for position 1, with Republican Joe Schmick sitting at a 65% vote ahead of Democrat Pam Kohlmeyer.
The race for lieutenant governor in Washington is between Democrat Denny Heck, the incumbent, and Republican Dan Matthews. Heck won by getting 56.7% of the votes, while Matthews only had 43.3%.
Up next, Olivia will have some more updates on what initiatives passed and those that didn't.
And some false allegations on a serious subject that occurred last week. We'll tell you more next.
Now let's check in on a few of the initiatives on the ballots across Washington State, as voters had 4 to consider. Washington State Initiative 2109, the repeal capital gain tax initiative, was on the ballot. It was proposing to repeal a tax credit on annual capital gains of more than $250,000. It was defeated by a wide margin. Now looking at Washington Initiative 2117 on the 2024 ballot, aimed to ban carbon tax credit trading, arguing it allowed companies to avoid reducing emissions. Voters rejected the initiative, allowing the practice to continue. Initiative 2066 on the ballot measure would ensure access to natural gas in homes and other buildings, and repeal a state law requiring plans to transform from the use of natural gas to electricity. This did pass by a narrow margin. Washington Measure 2124 on the ballot would let people choose not to pay into or use the state's long-term health care program. This did not pass.
Checking in on a few other statewide races up for grabs in Washington, Dave Upgrove leads Jamie Herrera Butler in Washington State Lands Commissioner race following an initial count since Election Day.
Chris Reichdahl leads David Olson in the contest to oversee Washington's public schools. Reichdahl, who is seeking his 3rd term, received 53.5% of the votes to Olson's 45.9%.
Democrat Pat McCarthy has won the race for Washington State Auditor against Republican Matt Hawkins, with initial voting results show McCarthy with 58.57% of the votes as of Tuesday night.
Democrat Patty Kuderer defeated Republican Phil Fulton Auto in the bid to replace the nation's largest serving insurance commissioner with 57% of votes. Numerous news outlets declare Couture the winner of more than 52% of the state's ballots counted.
Superior Court Judge Marla Paulin was reelected with 54% of the votes counted on Tuesday, while Andrew Van Winkle led Judge Timothy Fennessy with 51.5% of votes counted.
Coming up, we'll hear about Jake Dickert's opinion on where the Cougs landed for college football playoffs.
In the first official college football playoff rankings, Cougs are ranked number 21 in the country. Cougs are also ranked number 20 in both the AP and coaches poll. Head football coach Jake Dickert made a national appearance on the Jim Rome Show about his thoughts on the rankings and what the Cougs need to do to make the climb.
You could create some lifelong memories, and I think that's pretty cool for a football team. You know, sometimes you forget the scores and you understand what it takes to just be in those locker rooms. So I think our guys understand what each win can mean, and we're in perfect position to get into that top 12.
With that number 21 rank, the Cougs are back off their bye week to host Utah State. They enter the contest 7-1 for the first time since 2018 and bowl eligible for the 8th time in the last 9 seasons. Kickoff is Saturday at 7:30 p.m. from Giesa Field. Coming up next, some false news on a serious allegation that occurred last week. We'll tell you what happened next.
Dad, they took over my bedroom. Come on, come on. Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
In some WSU news, WSU PD finds no evidence of stranger parking lot sexual assault on campus. As reported by female student, WSU police first received a second-hand report of the attack late last month. WSU Police Chief Gary Jenkins issued a statement yesterday that officers have determined that no assault occurred at that location at that time.
And thank you guys for watching. Tune in on Friday. Have a good rest of your day.